Hi, I'm Janika.
And I'm Janice Chantel.
I'm Erica,
And I'm Angie.
and welcome
Welcome
to
to
Becoming
Becoming
Her.
Her.
So let's dig right in.
So let's start with a butterfly. This butterfly flies around all beautiful and shit, like, it's easy breezy, beautiful cover girl, and it is not. The butterfly should have told us how painful it is when it's a caterpillar going through the process of becoming that beautiful butterfly. So while we all know that it's going to be worth the pain, good Lord.
With that, sometimes with pain, you don't want to go through the process because pain hurts. Naturally, if you get a scratch on your arm and you start bleeding, the pain from that scratch, it hurts. And even in the healing process, healing even hurts. I want to dig right in today and kind of talk to you guys about evolving into who you are and who you want to be. And I want to talk about my transition from going from worthless to worthy, because there was a point of time in my life where I had very low self-esteem. I didn't love myself. So I know a lot of people say, well, what do you mean when you didn't love yourself? Not loving yourself is not valuing who you are and what your worth is, and the expectation that you set up for yourself to be who you want to be, not what other people expect you to be. So with low self-esteem, sometimes we lower our standards and our goals that we have for ourselves to appease other people. And that was the place that I was in for a very, very, very long time. When it came to men, friends, I thought giving, showing up, and doing whatever anybody asked me was self-worth, self-esteem. And at the time, it just made me feel like, okay, they're accepting me, so I want to be there. But deep down inside, I felt worthless. I didn't feel worthy. It was at the time when someone needs you, like even if it's a friend or um, a boyfriend or whoever, when you're doing things for other people at that particular time, you feel a sense of worthiness because someone needs you, and feeling needed is not feeling worthy. And that's something that we kind of miss. And growing up, I always had a sense of I always have to be there for other people, to be in the limelight, to be accepted. I had to do other things and sometimes it's things I didn't want to do. But as time progressed on and as I've gotten older, I had to learn that worthiness to me is reaching my goals and doing the things that I'm supposed to do for myself, inner healing and inner self, healing the little girl that inside that felt worthless, healing the little girl inside that were in bad relationships and decided that I'm going to stay just because, you know, if I do this, he'll stay. If I do this, he won't leave. Or with friendships. Well, if I help her with this bill, she'll be my friend for a couple of other weeks. But one thing about being feeling worthless, it really hits you. Self-esteem really, really hits you at a time where you're in a predicament and you need someone. And everyone around you that you've helped, that you've supported, that you've uplifted, prayed for, let them cry on your shoulder. Who takes care of that strong friend? Who takes care of you? Who are you able to go to? And it really hit Erica. What are you really doing? What are you really doing for yourself? Like when trouble happens, you run and help everybody else. But when trouble happens, you can't really call people. And it was a very long time before I met a circle of sisters that I could and call on and say, hey, you know, oh, I can help you with this. Oh, I can go do that. It was times Janika would call me and she would say, sis, why didn't you call me? Because I wasn't used to that. I was so used to being there for everybody else. It was to the point where my self-esteem, if someone gave me a compliment, I'll change the subject. And it was like, why do you do that? Because I felt worthless inside. Although, we don't see it, on our face. I wear many masks. It's what you feel inside when those lights go out, when you're home, when you're alone. Sometimes I would cry myself to sleep because I wasn't happy with me.
Let me ask you a question. What was your aha moment? What was the moment when you said, this is how I feel and I know it's not right?
So I actually, and I'm going to be very transparent and honest. I had my aha moment last year. I had to undergo a surgery, and I was there for everybody else. Their surgeries, it was minor, major, parties, showing up for people, even down to my birthday, showing up for people, just being there for people. And then when it's my turn, it was just like
Crickets.
crickets. Like, it was a situation. People have parties and stuff, and they wait till the end of the day. Oh, happy birthday. Like, it was just so simple. Like, it was just, and I'm like, I need friendships at that point. And I'm not even gonna lie, COVID really taught you who was really your friend and who was really an associate. And I sat back and I said, I'm always there for other people, but nobody's there for me. When I want to cry, is there she go again. But it's not that I do it often, but I can sit on the phone for hours and talk to you and support you. I can sit on the phone, or I can be in your presence and help you with your dreams and goals. But who's there to help me? Who's there to hug me when I need it? Who's there to say, sis, don't cry, you're beautiful. Like, it's nothing wrong with you. You don't, when you're that strong person for everybody else, it's always like, they always say, check on the strong friend. The strong friend is the friend that sometimes has the low self-esteem, and they really mask it. I did an exercise one day. I was at a women's meeting, and they said, we had white masks, and they said, put who you are on outside of the mask. And outside of the mask, people put superwoman, school student, everything. And then they said put was on inside of the mask. And then they paired each other up as an icebreaker. And to hear other women say so much powerful things outside, and then inside, insecure, hurt, broken. It's just like, who are you? It was this book called Who You Are When No One's Looking by Bill Hable. When people are looking at us, we mask it like we have it all together. But then when we get behind closed doors, we break. And that was me. I was broken. It's almost like, why does nobody love me? Why only people care about me when I'm doing things for them? It was to the point sometimes you ask yourself, like, well, what's wrong with me? What is wrong with me?
So once you got the understanding, what changed in your life?
What changed is,
What has anything changed?
So things have changed, because with change, you have to do the work. And it comes with your inner you. So you have to get tired of being that way. You have to get tired of accepting what people give you. I used to think I just had to accept it because this is what they're offering. No, you had to be okay with being alone. And that's the big key. A lot of people are not okay with being alone. As long as they're in the limelight or with individuals that are connected to the limelight, they have a sense of being. But do you really have a sense of being when you're by yourself and no one else is around? When you got to make things happen for yourself. So that was my aha moment.
But what changed? What changed in your life? The dynamics of your circle, or whoever those friends were that you were supporting that wasn't supporting you.
The things that have changed is that, my circle dissolved. When Erica took the stance of, let me step back and not do the things I was doing, let me see if the phone rang, the phone stopped. I get text message from a small circle. I have a small circle of friends that check on me, that are there for me, show up for me, ask me, do I need anything? Are you all right? We're just checking in. So when you finally step back and stop doing the things you were doing for people, the ones that stay around, those are the ones that really care about you. And I had to start building me. The things that I didn't like about myself, I had to start working on. Like, why am I helping this person fix their credit when mine not good? And I got to work on my credit. It was like making yourself better, building yourself. And that was the aha moment where I went from worthless to worthy. Like, I had to sit back, and I was like, it was an incident that happened last year. And I'm like, wait a minute, it was chaotic. And I was like, I am worth loving. I am worth being with someone that's not connected to other people. I am worth it, but you have to feel worth it. You have to want it. But the key thing to self-esteem, the key thing to not feeling that way, is that one thing that everybody's afraid of, being alone and people walking away. When you're okay with being by yourself, when you're okay with being alone and knowing that you are good enough, if nobody else comes around, you can maintain, you can build, and you still want to pursue your goals, then you know now you're worthy. You're feeling that self-worth. Now, I am going to say I'm still working on some aspects of my life. I'm totally not there yet, but I'm working towards being there. So, there are some like, I just wish I could just, but everything that's glitter ain't gold.
So what would you say to the person that you was when you first started giving of yourself so much? So like the little girl in you who wanted to be loved and liked and was giving your all, but you wasn't receiving what you needed. Now that you know better, what would you say to her?
It's funny. Kirk Franklin has a song called Hello Fear out, where he talks to his fears and his insecurities. So if I could talk to my fears and my insecurities, I would say that we should be ashamed of ourselves because we were always worthy. They knew we were worthy, but we never believed it. And now that we believe it together, I need you. I'm sorry that we had to go through this and it took you this long and you had to experience that trauma to get to this point. But I'm glad we went through it because look who we're becoming now. And like I said before, when I was talking about the scratch, there's pain when you have a wound and there's pain through the healing process. So detachment always brings pain. Even closure brings pain. And if people say, oh, I'm not friends with this person because I'm growing, they did this. Sometimes the apology is not even for you to be friends with the person again, not to get back with the person. It's sometimes you have to write. I wrote an apology letter to myself. I'm sorry I doubted you. I'm sorry that I didn't understand who you were. I'm sorry I didn't value you. I'm sorry that I didn't see what your worth was in your existence. I'm sorry that I tried to take you out of this world before you could become who you were becoming. I'm sorry that my depression kept me in the bed and you couldn't fulfill your goals and you could have been further than where you are. But, with this apology, I want to let you know the little girl that we were, the adults that we are now, we're moving forward and we're pressing forward. And I'm going to make you proud. That's what I would say to the little girl that's in me.
Yes.
Okay. I love it. I think that's very powerful. A lot of people don't realize, like, we all are broken. It's not one person on this earth that's not broken, that hasn't experienced trauma in some shape or form. And a lot of people, I don't think it's not one person who don't want to be better or do better, but in doing the work, a lot of people fail to realize that they want to start today and fix who you are today and move forward when you can't. Like you can't because it took all your past, which you went through in the past, to be who you are today, which means you have to go back. And a lot of people don't want to go back and do their work. You have to go back and get that little
painful
girl.
Back there.
Yes, that little girl that's on that step, that little girl that was picked on, that little girl, the neglected little girl who was molested, that little boy who didn't have, both parents in the home, or the kids that, didn't have male role. Like, it's a lot. Like, and a lot of people don't want to go back to that state and get that person, and it hurting, but you have to do the work. Like, you have to go back. Like, you can't start from here. Like, you can't. You got to go back and get that person and heal that person, because it's whatever happened back then started just that trickling effect. That's where this thing that's happening, keep happening to you, because you didn't go back and heal that person. And it's technically not our fault, because a lot of us were born with a lot against us, and I told my daughters before I did this, I had like this epiphany one day. I woke up and I was like, and I went around my old way, I grew up in Park Heights, and just to see, I was mad at my youngest daughter because she wasn't going to school and she was starting to hang with her certain friends and everything, and I got so mad. And when I went up there, I was like, no, not my daughter, because I'm not doing this. So I went up there to get her, and when I went up there, I just looked at the neighborhood. And I'm like, this is just crazy. And I got out and I was mad, and I told my daughter, like, this is not you. This is not who I raised you to be. This is not who we selling for. And I told her, and I had to tell her about like your circle, and I had to Like, this is not what you see me do. Like, you don't see me. Like, you need to change your circle.
Oh, your circle.
And I said, and you know, and I hurt her girlfriend's mother's feeling because her girlfriend mother was on a porch. And I told her, I said, you need to change your circle and starting with her. I said, because she's not going any further than her mother. And your mother do not sit on the porch every day, in and out, and don't do anything. Your mother goes to work every day and busts her tail for y'all. And she's not going any further from her mother. Like, you're not gonna be that one to keep having these babies like that. I said, I had babies, but I still did what I had to do. Like, this, I don't want this for you, and this is not your future. So you need to get it together. And I went, you know, and I know I hurt the mother feeling, but maybe hopefully she learned something from me.
It only hurt if it's
from
true.
Saying that,
and
you know,
if it's true.
Yeah.
Hopefully she.
It was the truth. But it was true. Like, I wasn't downplaying her anything, but I was like, that's not what I want for my daughter. Like, I'm not gonna sit on the porch every day in and out and see my daughter just ain't like doing nothing. Like, no. She knew that she needed to go somewhere else and do what she was doing. But yeah, I'm coming to get mine. You know, like, this is not what we're gonna do. And you know, and I just didn't want that for my daughter. I know I've been through a whole lot, and I ain't realized that a lot of stuff, like a lot of hurt, that you suppressed a lot of things unknowingly.
Yep.
And I didn't even know that a lot of my stuff that I went through, for as relationships, the decisions I made, and who I chose, came from what I saw as a child. And I didn't have a bad childhood, but I saw stuff. And when you see things and when your parents do things, you think that it's okay. So if you see one of your parents dating this person, dating that person, I'm like, okay, that might be okay. So when I got raised, I'm like, okay, like, I accepted and put up what I put up with him cheating, because I'm like, I say it. You know what I'm saying? And it don't make it right, but that's what I saw. And you just like, I was accepting, and I was reliving it over again. I was like, I do not want that for my kids. You know, and no matter what you can say, like, don't do this, don't do that, but if you're doing it,
you lead by example.
It's in you. Mm-hmm. If that's what you grew up in and that's what's embedded in you,
you're gonna do one or two things. You're gonna do how you was raised,
or flee from
it. Better for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want women to know, and people to know in general, I believe totally in harm reduction. And I know a lot of women, they regress and say, I tried to do this, like an addict. I'm trying to go to rehab and I'm trying to get clean, but I relapse. Relapse happens with healing. Mm-hmm. Don't look at, I totally just failed. Harm reduction is, if I'm used to smoking 7 cigarettes a day and I do 6.5, I made progress. Mm. Don't make your progress seem small. Any little bits, any little step. Celebrate your wins. Mm-hmm. You have to celebrate who you are. You have to celebrate your wins. I really admonish everyone to write a letter. That question you asked me was really key, off guard, but everybody knows what they would say. Like, we've rehearsed this, but never really said it. Mm-hmm. And I would admonish people to write something to their inner person. And that starts the healing process. That starts, okay, let me go back and see where I was broke and where I needed to be fixed. And it gives you reflection. And it gives you some self-reflection. And it takes time. I'm 38. I'll be 39 this year. And it takes time. It ain't so.
Tried your best, work real hard.
When I promised I wouldn't do it because I don't want to have a hot flash. But I just admonish you guys to write that letter to yourself. Be who you are. People think they have to be or become these individuals to be with other people. No, build your empire, and you'll attract those people that are supposed to be designed for your life to help you move forward and move to the next place. If you're in a relationship, a friendship, it could even be family, and you're stuck where you are, it's not it. It's not that's the problem. And individuals sometimes give you, like, you feel worthless, and I felt low, like I wasn't worth anything. And other people knew I was worth something. So if I can keep her there and keep her feeling like that, she'll always be around, and she won't leave. Friendships, relationships, family ships, all that, she won't leave. Marriage ships, situationships, she won't leave. Although she is a boss, if I make sure she don't feel like she a boss, she ain't gonna leave. So
that's
everybody,
how you know about them than it does about you.
Yeah. Everybody
Say
around me,
self-esteem is just as low or even
Low.
lower.
you attract who you are.
That's true.
You attract who you
What
are
lack.
and what you lack.
And who you attracted 20 years ago does not mean you have to stay that same person
Absolutely.
20
you
years
should not
later.
We
the
always
same person.
evolving.
Oh my God.
Put the E in our title.
Dare
right now.
you change your
Evolving.
mind.
Always healing, evolving, and
Yes.
Yes.
her.
Yes.
Just being her.
So it's okay to relapse. But the question I asked you guys,
I'm glad you said that.
who are you when no one else is looking?
I'm guilty of
Who
that.
are you when no one else is looking?
Yeah.
When those doors close and you're finished playing the part that day, or whoever you want to be, who you are when no one else is looking.
Mhm.
And that person you are when no one else is around, that's the person you need to work on.
Mhm.
So,
Good job.
Yes.
I like
Thank you for sharing.
thank you.
But what if you don't know who you are when you
That's
after,
the
after
see,
the
that's
day
the
after the
problem.
day is over and you take off that mask and you look in that mirror?
But can you look in the
You don't even
mirror?
know
Or
who
if
you looking
you
at.
don't even know who you're looking at.
Some people can't even look in the mirror at themselves. It's painful.
And that's who you are. So you know the steps that you need to take to look at yourself. Like I had to look at myself and literally talk to myself, crying. There's nothing wrong with you. You are beautiful. You are worth it. You have to be able to encourage yourself. People walk out the door feeling miserable and encourage everybody else. And they go back to their lives dysfunctional, unhappy. And that was me. And I had to start telling myself
And you need reminders.
until you believe it.
Stickies
I
all
did too.
over
And
my
I need
I
to get
with
doing that.
affirmations
I
and
did too.
power
And
and
I
power
still did.
statements for me to remind myself of who I am. And not that I didn't know, but sometimes you just need to see it and remind yourself.
We need to be reprogrammed. Our subconscious needs to be reprogrammed. Because over the years, we tell ourselves negative things about ourselves, and we don't even realize that we do that. I know I don't. I haven't in the past. So reprogramming yourself to think more of yourself, you wouldn't think it's a difficult thing, but that shit is hard.
It is hard. It's hard as hell.
Mhm.
It's hard as hell. And the one thing I always say too, it's like, oh, why did this happen again? I thought I was moving towards better. Like, why is this happening again? Sometimes the relapse is not to keep you bound where you are. Sometimes the relapse is to remind yourself how far I brought you from it. It's the reminder how far I brought you and what could happen if you stay in this place. But even with a grade, you fail a second grade. You got to keep repeating it. You got to keep repeating until you pass it, until you conquer it. But every time you redo the test, you get another answer right. You get another part right. That's why I say harm reduction. You get another part right. So although it may take a long time to heal or to get from where you are, every time you repeat it, there's a new lesson in it, and you are evolving. But you have to let it take its course. You have to let it. Patience is a virtue. And sometimes we lack patience. And that's one thing. I was very impulsive. I got angry, temper. When I'm mad, that's it. But I can't see until I went too far, and I'd be like, dang, I need to come back. And now I need to fix all of this. I need to fix me.
And I made a post the other day, and it said that grieving and healing, there is no arrival. Like there is no end date to it. Like you just don't say like I'm right, like I'm done. Like from this certain thing, I'm healed from this certain situation. Like with grief, it's not like the end. Like okay, I'm not grieving anymore. Like it's always you're evolving through it. Like there's no arrival. You're always going to evolve through it. Like you're healed. You think you might like, all right, I'm healed. I can do this, and then like it just be something just triggers you and sets you back. Or I might get into a place where I'm good in a certain situation, and then you go through it, and then helping you get through it might trigger something in me. But and I thought I was further along in my healing, but whatsoever. While I'm helping you through it, I'm helping myself. So I'm getting further along in my healing process in that particular situation, which is good because I can help you because I'm further along in the process than what you are. And then the next time, say if you go through it, then she can help the next person. It's like a process, like we're forever evolving. Like it's always like we'll always have that scar. Just like you heal and you still have that scar. Like the wound is not there, but you still have that scar. Just like any scar, if you bump that scar, it's gonna hurt.
It's the reminder.
It's gonna hurt, or that scab gonna come off. So it's always a process. It's always gonna be there. And you're always like a reminder. It's like you learn, like you keep learning from it, and you're evolving and you learn more from it. And then you can help go back and help the next person. And that's what's important. And that's what we want to do. And with everything that we're doing is help others. Like as we're learning and healing and evolving, we want to be able to go back and help the next sister.
Because you ain't gotta stay stuck, sis.
No.
And the key thing she said,
yes,
the scar was the reminder. What do you do with that reminder? Do you remind yourself and stay stuck, or do you remind yourself of that scar to say that or that burn? Don't do this again. This is keep going. You got this. And sometimes I wonder when you ask me, what would I say to the little girl? What would the little girl say to me if she saw me now?
I'm proud of you.
Congratulations.
Exactly.
Keep going. Amazing.
Exactly.
You brought us a long way.
So I say this to say, going from worthless to worthy, and that was within me. That was a self journey for me. It had nothing to do with anyone else. It was to the point where I had to write myself an apology for doubting myself and not loving myself to the capacity that I could love. People loved me the level that I was on, and I allowed them to do that. TD Jake said something like, how can you expect 10-gallon love and you're only used to 1 gallon love, but you're giving yourself 1 gallon love? You know, you want someone to love you on your level. So if someone say, I love you, and they love you on your level, and that's the level of depression, that's all you know. That's all you know. I want to love you and help you grow. There's many times that I've called Janika crying. I was like, I just want to leave my job. I want to leave it all. I want to do this. I'm crying, like wallowing, like I'm just so hurt. And then she say, well, sis, how you going to pay your bills? And I'm like,
it's real.
Like,
bring it back to reality.
She said, sis, I understand you hurting in this, but you got to make it make sense. That's a friend.
That's my key.
That's someone that's helping you.
Make it make sense.
She said, you got to make it make sense.
And I'm like,
I know. Yeah, I'd be like, look, I'm gonna just call you back.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, they probably know me text. She don't be. She be like, Jenny already texted me. You be all right.
That sounds just like her too.
But it's that sense. It's like a day later. Are you feeling better? Yeah. I went to work today. Yeah, because you can't live here. And you got a child to provide for, so you got to work through this. Those are the type of friendships that you should have, build on. Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
All right, guys. So we appreciate y'all tuning in today. I hope you guys got a wealth of information and understanding about this new journey that we're on. And we hope you guys continue to tune in and support. And we're going to support you the way we hope you guys support us.
Absolutely. And keep healing, evolving, and restoring. And we'll see you next time.
Yes.
Bye.